Now, you wanted to talk about this first. I said we would talk about this. You said this is the Max 20th anniversary of Max Payne.
As of October, or if not November 2021. I know we're a few weeks late on the matter, but I just want to mention it before it's too late, and obviously we still have enough time in a sense. We're late to the party of explaining and celebrating the 20th anniversary in our podcast. But, it's a good time to talk about it right now to those who are around the age group, because anyone who's born over, let's say, 25 years old heard about Max Payne and heard about games like Code Veronica and, and games like, what's it called, Grand Theft Auto, I think it's the best. So all this is happening with Rockstar Games now. So it's kind of like an interesting time to mention these things right now before it's too late.
Okay, so listen, I know I played Max Payne on stream not too long ago. I'm up to like section 2 of the first game, and I'm up to level 7 on the second game of the first area. I beat the third game a long time ago. What did you want to say about Max Payne? Like your memories, I guess.
Basically, it's like a nostalgia when I played the first 2 Max Paynes earlier last year. Technically, we're in the new year, so we're just let's just say, let's face it, last year right now. And the first 2 Max Paynes have good story. It's very well thought out. Whoever these people that in Rockstar are, but it did a damn good job, because there's been reports by Ricevec, the YouTube gamer. He makes some all good documentary style YouTube gaming content about certain games that happened back many years ago. And back in the 1990s, if not the late 1990s, before Max Payne was ever thought about being released officially, he mentioned that there's been the studio of Rockstar at the time, they couldn't find big time actors or big time voice actors, things like that, to make the role for these type of pictures and comic book style type of graphics for these people, their faces, their gestures, their clothing, their bodies, you name it. And one into another, they got their family and friends involved with their projects, like got Uncle Joe from down the street, or Martha, the sister-in-law, that type of stuff. So it's kind of like, they have one big family-related project, a family-made project in a sense, because there's that family involved with fixing and making these animations in these comic books, whether it's still images or through regular cutscenes. It's very good. They did a good job of making that happen for the first 2 Max Paynes. Unfortunately, with Max Payne 2, they kind of downgrade the graphics when you play the game, the gameplay aspect of it, especially if you, let's say, for example, if you try to do cutscenes like what happened. But the comic book aspect of the cutscenes of Max Payne 2 got much better. It's more fluid. Like it'll appear one here, appear one there, then goes diagonally down here, then goes diagonally down there. So it's kind of like this flow. Like there's always one still image of all these images. There's like one image after another of a comic book style type of matter. So they improved on that matter for Max Payne 2. I give them a credit. And for with Max Payne 3, I played that 2 times. I beat it 2 times as of last week. Second time I've played it for a good 2-3 weeks straight, on and off, and it was very good. The story seems off because everyone from Max Payne 1 and 2 are dead, or they're no longer living in that area where Max Payne used to fight crime and stuff. So you got Jack Lupino dead, you got Vinny Gardini dead, Vladimir Len dead, Mono Sax died in the Max Payne 2. Sorry to spoil it for you guys, but let's face it.
Thanks for spoiling that for me.
I'm sorry, James. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see Mono Sax in Max Payne 4 because they kind of messed up on the ending on Max Payne 2, because I'm not, in my perspective, that is because they know that if they're going to third Max Payne, they're going to involve something with Mono Sax again. And sure, they did with multiplayer for Max Payne 3, but that's it. And we're talking about story-related matters for Max Payne 3, and they didn't do that. All these Bronco characters, all these UFE of police forces and commando units, and it's like, who are these guys? They're out of nowhere. Oh, sure, they have it in Max Payne 2, Max Payne 1, but this is like totally different location, country, people, culture, value. It was Sao Paulo. In the middle of all that drug crime going on in Brazil and everything else at the time. And they were supposed to release Max Payne 3 back around 2009, but it was 2012 around the summertime when I was still in the hospital where they released it. So bad time on my part. And after getting out of hospital, a year later, I was like, yeah, this is a good game to play, and it's very good. I was intuitive with all the action. Was the bullet time? What they improved it. They did all this shit. Like, it was good, but it wasn't as like neo noir as like with the first two Max Paynes. That's what they're known for, being a neo noir style type of gameplay. So, and also cutscenes as well. So, but I have to say though that Max Payne did. People that made Max Payne, they did an awesome job. I want to commend them. Give them a good clap or two. Hopefully in the next 20 years they'll make another couple more Max Paynes. I doubt it. But, if they did Max Payne 4, they can bring in a son and you can say Mona Sachs died because, okay, I mean, maybe I should have ruined everything for you, my friend Triple J and anyone out there. But there's an alternative ending to Max Payne 2. So if you beat that 2 times on 2 separate levels of difficulty levels, like Hard Boiled and New York on Arrival, you see a different. After Dead on Arrival, if you beat that Dead on Arrival, you get a different alternate look, which I did not know about in many years. I forgot. So, what I'm trying to say is that there's hope for Max Payne 4 because of that matter. If they can include somehow with Max Payne 3, whatever happened in Sao Paulo, and connect it with Mona Sachs, and have Max Payne's child call himself Max Payne Jr., becomes a cop, whatever. That would be nice to see something like that. But then all these younger adults, younger kids, younger gamers, they say that every time when they try to include a son of a main character of a father, like Max Payne, for example, like Marcus Phoenix to JD of Gears of War 4, it wasn't a good idea altogether. It's always a defaulted failure. There's always going to be problems with that matter. I'm like, no, it's not going to be a problem because if you're a homage, if you're a homie with the, I know it sounds like a gangster word, but a homie with the game itself, the series of itself, you grew up with this as you were a teenager or even a child, you should know well then and there you grew up enough to know that there's got to be some interesting shit going on with that if they did it right. So it's all about taking a chance. Rockstar can do it on its 25th anniversary of Max Payne 4. I can wait that long, right? So, we never know.
Okay, well, I don't think there's going to be a Max Payne 4. I think if there was going to be one, they would have done it already.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you bring up Gears of War. Yeah, Gears of War, the first one came out 2006. Gears of War 4 came out, 2014?
About 2016.
2016. Okay, so 10 years between, and they had like 5 games in that decade. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, if they had somewhere to go with Max Payne 3, they would have had somewhere. They would have done it already. But you also got. I'm also guessing. I didn't check on this. I don't think Max Payne 3 sold as well as 1 and 2 did.
Oh yeah,
that also might be.
It wasn't
why Max Payne 3 sticks out like a sore thumb.
It wasn't as great as the first 2 Max Paynes, but it made good sales, average like sales.
And they had cool parts like when Max Payne was diving off the roof in the first level of Max Payne 3, and you having to shoot as you fall off the roof. So I like the gameplay of 3. Like I said, I'm up to Part 2 in the first Max Payne, and I did beat level 7 in Max Payne 2. I was up to the prologue, but I didn't save, and I died. I didn't know I had to save after every level, so when I start Max Payne 2 again, I'm going to have to do level 7 all over again, which is a pain.
Right. I understand.
But, yeah, so Max Payne, it's great. I do like the style of 1 and 2 more than what they did with 3. 3, it was like a hostage rescue movie. 1 and 2 had the comic book style, and I actually prefer the comic book style. if they want to do something to honor Max Payne, maybe they could just make sure the people who were involved in the Max Payne movie are never seen or heard from again.
Well, they can't make another Max Payne movie if they created the Max Payne 4, so that way people could see the connection, because the Max Payne movie of back in 2007 when it was released, it was alright to watch. I mean, the only problem was they fucked up on Jim Bavura and the angels and demons scenes and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, yes, it was part of it, what Max Payne went through, but not the deep details of it. So it's like, with Jim Bavura, Ludacris was the fucking chief police. Like, Jim Bavura, he's an old man, old white man. Like, what's that about? How can you make Ludacris the rapper Jim Bavura? Like, that don't make any sense. I mean, yes, they try to do it for the clout, for the fans out there who listen to rap music and stuff like that. At the time, that is. But that's not how it's supposed to go. And Mona Sachs, it was a little different altogether. The stable of a sister of Mona Sachs, so that wasn't so bad. They did inclusive like that with Max Payne 4 as well. So,
well, I'm just saying, the movie bombed. That's why they never made a sequel to the movie.
Yeah, of course, indeed. But I want to say this though, Triple J, is that with the fact that if we include another Max Payne 4, another Max Payne game after Max Payne 3, it would be like similar to what happened with Psychonauts. Sure, it's not made by Rockstar Games, but Psychonauts haven't made a sequel in 15 years. So imagine this being the first sequel ever in 15 years again with Rockstar this time. Now that would be a very anticipated move on Rockstar Games' part. They may not be able to make too much money, but at first, but if they do it right, they can do it.
Yeah, but when you take into like what limitations were in effect then and what limitations can be bypassed now, if they they can't make this is probably one of the challenges they have. If they make Max Payne 4 look too modern, it's going to be an insult to what Max Payne 1 and 2 were. If they try to make Max Payne 4 more relevant to Max Payne 1 and 2, same art style or similar art style, things like that, people are going to think, what is this, a budget version?
The young viewers going to be like that. They're going to be saying that shit.
So I think that's also something else. It's not just a few years has passed. It's the technology since the last game has advanced so much that you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't, kind of deal.
Well,
you're not going to please. You're not going to please everyone, regardless which way you go. You're going to make more people upset.
Well, 343, former Bungie at the time, they made the Master Chief Collection. What? How many years after the fourth one? A year after, 2 years after release. So, and about 7 years, or at the most 7 years of Halo 3. So it's kind of like, you're playing a catch-up game. You're playing a roulette of sorts, because the older gamers supposed to be not older gamers, but the ones who have been long-time gamers at the time. They were supposed to eat it up, but since they fucked up on the servers, they started to mess up even further after that. So it was all about taking a risk in a shorter period of time. What Max Payne, if they do a Max Payne 4, they have all this time in the world now, Rockstar, to fix the graphics from the first two, make sure that the action can be included like in Max Payne 3, and mix the two styles together somehow, some way, and make the story longer than about, have at least 2 hours of cutscenes, with the comic book or something like that. Now, that'd be great. You see 2 hours worth of comic book scene-like, content, while playing the gameplay alone itself is separate from some cutscenes. So it'll be something different for the newer gamers out there who have never heard of Max Payne before. But for us gamers who have been involved with Max Payne since 2001, since the beginning, it's well worth the wait. So.
All right. So yeah. So I guess if they did a collection and they don't do what they did with Grand Theft Auto 3 trilogy,
yeah.
If they actually handle it with care, I guess that would be the way to introduce a Max Payne 4.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, this might be all fine. This might be all finite because if I had to bet money one way or the other, I bet money that then we're never going to see a Max Payne 4.
Yeah, it's a more of a luxury to have Max Payne 4 than it is a needed sequel, obviously, because the game's already been done since Max Payne 2. It's just that whatever they did with Max Payne 3 now is kind of like an add-on. That's about it. And Max Payne 4 can be a great addition to not only an add-on, but as well as a good sequel to what happened between Max Payne and the Max Payne 2 and during Max Payne 3, or even after Max Payne 3, in between those sequence of events. So, kind of like fill up that story for those who want to know what really happened in that mansion with that Vladimir Lem, what really happened with Max Payne's bodyguard partner, the guy from Max Payne 3. I forgot his name already. So.
Right. Okay. So, so that's our Max Payne discussion about the 20th anniversary that happened like about 6 weeks ago. You ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.